Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable, profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals or downlines. And let me be brutally honest for a second. Most agency owners aren't building a team, they're babysitting one. They spend their days chasing flaky prospects, repeating the same recruiting pitch 5 times a week, only to have no-shows, ghosters, and broke dreamers drain their time and energy. And worst of all, their personal production suffers and they start resenting the team they tried so hard to build. So if that's you, you're not lazy. You're just trying to scale using effort instead of systems. That's why I built Autopilot Recruiter, a done-for-you system that helps you attract qualified agents, pre-sell them with your story, and get them onboarded without doing another live Zoom, sales pitch, or three-way call ever again. It's the same system top recruiters are using to grow massive downlines without sacrificing their commissions, their time, or their sanity. So if you're ready to build a team that actually grows itself, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook and down the free playbook today. Today's guest is Patrice Johnson. She's the founder of Agent Score Report and the host of Agent Score Report podcast, where she amplifies real stories from the insurance world with transparency, truth, and just a little bit of edge. So Patrice, welcome to the show. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
Well, number one, I didn't know I was that awesome on that side of the podcast as the host. So kudos to you. And again, thank you so much for having me on the show. And one more time on that question. That's a lot. That's a big boy question to ask. Most people don't know to ask that after being in the industry and finding they get the FAFO. So yeah, go ahead again.
Yeah, so tell me something you believe, Patrice, is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
Training and training outside of the network you're at, because there's only so much that you can get in the organization that you are. And don't get me wrong, and I've heard it, and I've been in the industry for over a decade. My agency give me whatever I want. They take care of me. But that doesn't mean you know everything, and you never know who you can learn from. And again, that's why I started my podcast and my website, because I wanted to open up this conversation, get us away from that cult mentality to start having conversations, because you just don't know what information you'll pick up. Just to give an example, IULs are really, really huge. They're becoming a new thing in the industry. And when I was first selling it, I was doing like the minimum face amount and max overfund. I could handle that great. But then when I moved on and people were starting to do the big boy ones where they've got people dumping in 40, 50K, they were only showing them dumping in that first year. With a little bit more education and training going outside of what I was being taught and trained, I learned that if a client does not commit to dumping in 40K for the next 3 to 7 years, depending on that setup, you basically just ate their money and took it for commission gains. So I thought where I was doing the best and the most right thing, and they were not. And that's why I say getting education, resources, and training outside of where you are. Like, you need to go take your business seriously, treat it like a business. So that means you need to make sure you are staying up to date about everything that's out there in the industry to learn about the products that you're selling.
Yeah, and something funny you mentioned is the insurance industry by large, we get stuck in these echo chambers and surround ourselves with yes men. And the reason why people do that is a little known, uh, I'll just call it a bug in the brain of humans. It's called confirmation bias. And what happens is when you keep rehearsing and keep being around the same information being repeated, you keep hearing it over and over again, it's confirmation bias. And so you feel really good about familiarity and familiar information that's being repeated back to you. What does it sound like? Let me know if you've ever heard this, Patrice. Buy the leads.
Yeah.
Trust the system. How many times have you heard that? I can't count on 1,000 fingers. I can't count on 10,000 fingers how many times I've heard buy the leads. Trust. And the source is always trust me, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And I learned in my time, trust but verify, because as my years have gotten into, I got to be in rooms and hear things that other people couldn't hear. And when you find out, it's like the only thing that is a process and that's repetitive is those words, because you find out that those top producers are not using the same resources that you are using to make what they're trying to convince you. So I feel like There's been years, there's been times and people I've even helped who were beating themselves over the head. They're like, I am doing what they are doing, but it's not working for me. And it's you. You're not working hard enough. You're not dialing long enough. 24 hours in a day, you need to dial 48 hours in a day. Like they want you to do some impossible stuff, and that's because it doesn't work.
Yeah, the truth is always simple, a lie is always complex. And unfortunately, we live in a industry where the whole goal is to just throw 1,000 agents on a team and hope they all recruit 1,000 agents apiece and just bring all your family and friends in, burn all your relationships when most of you don't know how to swim metaphorically in this industry.
Yeah.
And you wonder when there's no boat coming out there to get you. The only thing coming to get you is chargeback debt, vectors, credit card debt. I know so many people I've spoken to, I've had 70 calls in the last 10 days alone with agents. About three-quarters of them are around under $10,000 of debt from leads, and about some of them, man, when I was like, we sold our family restaurant and went 40 grand into lead debt and license debt to get all the licenses in all 50 states. And I'm like, who told you this? Who told you this was a smart idea? And why there's just no discernment. It's not, you can say
And,
it's partly their
you're
fault,
not
partly
wrong. And
others.
what's crazy, the biggest part of this, it's because of how the industry is presented. They don't tell you this is a business when you get in here. Like it almost sounds like a side hustle, if you will, but there's so much more complexity to it. And that's why, again, what you're doing, what I'm doing is so important because people need to read their contracts. What are you actually signing up for? What are you holding yourself legally responsible for? Especially if you don't close up house. Like there's times where people just come here and I tell people I hire you if you do it sometimes, all the time, when you feel like you have the time. And those people get caught into the matrix of this world, but then they walk away. They decide it's not for them, or they come in and out of the industry whenever they want to sell it. Maybe it's just another stream of income for them. But here's the thing, if you hire and recruit people, you're still responsible for them. Even though your old upline might be taking advantage of all of the overrides they're getting, that chargeback's going to follow you. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that they hadn't sold in years, and all of a sudden two, three, $4,000 and roll up chargeback debt. And here's the thing, they're not told to close out things. Not that you shouldn't know that, but you wouldn't think that should be. But when you understand how hierarchies work, of course your upline's not going to move that person direct to them so that they can get all of it. They want to protect themselves and have a buffer. So if that roll up does come, you are now responsible for it. And then they've already made you feel guilty for it. So you're going to pay for it.
Great for the agency owner, terrible for the
Yeah.
agent. I wrote a novel yesterday and today about this whole trust the system shit.
Yeah.
It's people will fight vehemently to defend the system, taking away all their power, and it never ceases to amaze me the amount of people that come in here claiming they want one thing, yet their actions betray their words every
Yeah.
day of the week, and that's just human nature. In general, we do what's comfortable, not necessarily what's right. Your brain keeps you what's comfortable. It just wants to keep you safe, and sometimes what feels safe is not the safest thing. So get out of the echo chamber. Come hang out with uh, Uncle Mason and Aunt
And
Patrice
on
for a
the
day.
street.
Okay, grab all the kids around, get them around the podcast.
We gonna keep it 100 with you, and not in a way to scare you. It's to prepare you. Like this is what is expected of this industry, even if you're just doing it part-time or sometime. You've got to keep your business in order. You need to know what you're signing and what you're getting up to, and not just trust the system because you don't go. I don't go to if I go to McDonald's and I apply there, they don't say trust the system, bro. You'll figure it out. No, there's going to be an SOP on how I make them fries extra crispy. Just, you know what I mean? There's going to be a SOP. They don't have that here. So it's like when you say trust the system, what system?
Yeah, it's a parrot who copied a parrot who copied a parrot who copied a parrot, and it's just the same talking point over and over again. And recency bias then comes in. Psychology is a funny thing, neurology is a funny thing. But just before we go into what you wanted to talk about, it's very interesting that you bring this up about uh, even something like McDonald's, so to speak. And it's the amount of people who expect valuable information who are not willing to pay for it. Like I sell this thing, it's a one-liner. You can go out and say it's any conversation starter and it gets people completely bought in and it's $9. And it's like, Mason, why will you not give it out for free? Do you work for free? When you go through McDonald's drive-through, do they give you free fries? Just
Yeah.
no. You got to buy it. You're in
Yeah.
business. How do you expect to bake a cake if you're not even willing to go out and buy the crust, the whipped cream, whatever goes on, whatever type of. I like cookie cake
Yeah.
personally. I like all types of cake, birthday cake, Oreo cake, ice cream cake, cake. I like all kinds of cake. But that requires money. You got to spend money on it. If $9 is too much for you, congratulations. You've reached what we call a barrier of entry. If you're not willing to do that, then it's just go find something else you're actually willing and interested to spend money on. Don't don't stay in insurance where you don't value it. So let's, Patrice, I know something you're really passionate about is this whole idea of overcoming objection
Yeah.
strategies in a creative way. Because most people are so in their head about what other people think. And here's the thing, it's not even, you're not worried about what other people think. You're worried about what you think they're
Yeah.
thinking, which is really a reflection of what you truly think of yourself. And so here's the brutal reality. I know it sounds terrible. This is why you come to me, though. This is why you come to Patrice, though, is help typically hurts before it helps. And so you got to go down before you go up. I got to whack you in the head with a hammer and then sell you the aspirin for the
Yeah.
headache that precedes. So tell me about this whole idea of overcoming objections in a creative way. I know you talked to me about that. Girl, tell me what day you want this to come out so we know how broke we are for the rest of the month. So
Yes.
tell me about that.
No, but I mean, number one, I would also say you almost have to welcome the hurt. You have to expect it. And God, I wish I would have got I have it up on my shelf. Like who doesn't have dozens of self-help books? But the whole go for no. That whole thing, I almost expect the no. I want the no because that's usually what their interests are. And so you had brought up something I said, and that comes down. And I would say one thing I would do, and I would recommend that agents do, whether you're a veteran or not. Sometimes we have to reevaluate ourselves, almost like giving yourself a performance because we are independent agents. So we don't always have anybody holding us accountable in that way. So sometimes you almost have to check it out. So I would say after every single appointment, I would write down what happens because that allows me to understand how to pivot because sometimes I don't always have the tools to be able to pivot. But the one thing is the first basic thing I think I learned coming into this industry was building rapport. And that's where that story came from with you. And for me, I grew up where we were on cash aid assistant, government assistance for food stamps. We had the Section 8, all of the things. So for me, that was something I was able to take into these homes because some of the leads we got into, they were from families that were of lower economic statuses. And I had to be creative with getting something I believe is so important, like understanding insurance. It's reckless not to have it. So I'm like, how do I get these people who literally don't have nothing to squeeze this into their budget and to see out of their way? So me growing up in that environment, understanding that environment, I understood that we're the same still. It doesn't matter if my tax bracket has changed. I still operate in that survival mindset. I'm still very frugal when it comes to spending. So, I use relatable situations. So I had sat with a client who, we were talking about $20 a month, and because she had a lot of health issues, we were only looking at a $5,000 policy, but still, it was like something was better than nothing. And I knew what the family's outcome was going to be. I knew they were going to have to sell tacos or something in order to do something, GoFundMe in order to pay for the funerals. So I like with just quick thinking, I was just like, I know we go to, and that's when the dollar menu at McDonald's actually had a dollar menu. Now it's just a value menu. I would say, hey, we go to Dollar Tree. And I was like, Dollar Tree, McDonald's, all these places, and we will spend $20 without even thinking twice. We will go make these things happen. And most of the times, it's not even things our family needs, it's what we want. And so it's like I was able to target that emotional standpoint. Like, let's put you somewhere where we're going to spend $20. And what does that look like? Do we really need McDonald's, or can I go to the grocery store and buy the same stuff and probably get 3 or 4 days worth of meals out of it? Same thing with Dollar Tree. What am I getting there? And how is that taking care of my family? So it's like I put them in that mindset. And the next thing I do, I go and not everybody else can do this because it'll come off wrong. So you have to, meet where you're at. But then I already built that rapport talking about my childhood when I was engaging with them. And I'm just like, what day of the month do you want this to come out? So you know how broke we are for the rest of the month. And I say we, because hey, I still identify with having a budget and things of that nature. I like knowing what I have left at the end of the month. And they laugh because it's almost a sense of relief because I see them. I see you. I see you and I feel you and I get it. So I need to know what day are you not going to feel this? Because I don't want it to be the 28th of the month. Um, and we're deciding between, the light bill and insurance. You're going to choose the one you think you don't care about. And that's the conversation. That's where I never want my client to get to. So that was the way I kind of tackled that, and where my mindset was coming into that, because I was these clients that I was trying to service. So it's like, how do I, again, I was able to service them on their level without them feeling some type of way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I was
and
sitting there.
for those of you watching this, let me give you the psychology and the neurology back behind why you can trust what Patrice is saying. In communication, we are taught that everything is designed to increase wholeness, increase choice. And so, just to sum this up in kind of with the attitude of our conversation, just who you are as a person, I'm sure you're familiar with J. Cole, of course. He has a
Yeah,
line in the song that says, "Why would I choose between this one or that one when I could have both?" And so,
yeah,
if you can create win-win scenarios for people where they don't feel like they have to pick
yeah.
light bill or insurance, because I'll tell you the first one is getting canceled, man. Create an opportunity that allows them to experience both, because you increase wholeness, you increase choice. I grew up sharing plates and forks because there wasn't enough dishes. So the fork that went in my mouth then went in my brother's and then sisters. So I can resonate with this 100%. So I spend a lot of money not because I need to, but on things that are designed to create an environment where I feel like I have choice because I had none as a child. This is why I write poetry. It's a metaphor for control. And when you start understanding it's about people, they just want to feel like they have a degree of hope, a degree of a sense of control in seemingly hopeless odds. If you can sprinkle some hope in a hopeless situation, people will move mountains for you. People will cut off, they'll do crazy stuff for cult members. I promise you, you can sell a policy. I promise you can sell a policy. And then
And
another
you got to
genius
remember
thing
too,
Patrice said.
we're introducing something they may have never even considered or thought they were worthy of. And I'm someone from their community, regardless of, skin complexion, all these things, because we all live in that community. It's like you get to know that you're worthy and you can actually get something like that. Because even me coming into this world, I was like, this stuff's available? Like, I've never seen this in the grocery store. Let me see somebody's living benefits. You know what I mean? You're introducing something they didn't even think was worthy. So we're literally changing lives, because we know what living benefits too, even just thinking about that concept. And if we're able to get these families to buy into the idea and they get this coverage, and then a life event happens to them, and you're showing up to their door with $100,000 check, and they was paying $20 a month for a policy, that's insane. And not the whole life policy I gave as an example earlier, just in case someone tries to twist my words. Just, if you're a younger person and you got like, term insurance and it's cheaper, thinking about getting up to 100% of that death benefit while you're still alive to take care of your family. Tell me where you can go do that. And any product you've ever heard of that's not life insurance.
Yeah, it's not. Once you expose to someone to a new reality that they have never considered before, it's like they have new details, new
Mhm.
topography, new terrain on their map, their model of the world. And so once they see it, they can't unsee it. And what's so
Yeah.
beautiful about that, I have a quote. It's called "Pain cuts twice as deep when you know the opposite pleasure." And
Mhm.
so you don't know how good it feels to have money unless you've never had any. And
Yeah.
so man, it's such a beautiful quote. But another thing you said is that you wrote objections down. See, listen, guys, if you bring an objection to me and say, Mason, they told me this, I'll give you the out, the excuse the first time because you've never had it happen before. But after the second one, you can no longer use that excuse. If you have something happen to you twice and you don't duck when Rafiki swings his stick to hit you in the head, when the customer gives you an objection, you should have learned it after the first time. So write the objections down and then ask, role play, practice a million different ways on how to overcome it. Someone should be able to shake you in the middle of the night and saying, well, I need to talk to my wife about it. And you should have the objection overcome right there. But when you really want to get good, you'll take it away from the customer before it even happens.
Yeah.
And so that way you just don't have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with objections. It sounds like rolling on the floor, wrestling with customers. It sounds shitty. I don't want to do it. I'd rather steal the frame, so to speak. So, Patrice, this has been really good. I know, talk to us really quick about Agent Score Report.
Yeah. 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 No, but yeah, speaking of, I was going to say, just a couple of funny ones too, just, even just overcoming objections. And like you said, we should get to the point where you're ready for it. And like you, like even just coming to you with the one liners and saying, hey, don't come to me about it the second time because you have the tools to combat it. It should be the point where you should be able to tackle it at period. Because you should already know what people want because we need to create an experience for them. So like if someone comes to the car dealership, there can't be any other reason why they're coming to the car dealership. And the same if they go to Walmart, depending on which one they go to, if they're going to Walmart Hood, Super Walmart, okay, I have to create an experience and I have to figure out what are they looking for. Are they looking for the home or the grocery side? Or are they looking for a combination of both? You know what I mean? Some people are just looking for life insurance, but then they might need those living benefits. How do I create that experience for them when they come through the door? So I'm already knocking down objections and getting right to them. And like that's the most important part. And I would say the other thing I run into a lot is when people tell me it's not the right day, especially when it's the religious people. They're my favorite ones because I play them at their own game. I had this one woman that I called her and she's like, today is the Lord's day. And without skipping a beat, and I said, baby, he sent me. Now, is this your address? And I just kept going without, she couldn't say anything. But here's the thing. While I was able to get through and book an appointment and it did not have a cell, just having that experience had me address this. Like I addressed those phone conversations differently by saying, hey, this person told me to call you today, whether depending on the information I have or whatever, like, hey, your beneficiary wanted me to get a hold of you. You have put in this information. So it's like almost like I create that urgency at the beginning so that I'm not trying to be on the offense on the other side of it. I'm not going to be I'm not being defense. I'm not defending myself with the or objection. I want to be on the offense side where I'm coming at it, but it doesn't feel like I'm rushing them either. It sounds like, hey, this is what I'm here to do. How do I address this with you? So that's the other thing I want to say too, just to jump back onto what you were saying, like there should be a point that you should already addressing it at the front as soon as we get on the phone call. Yeah, I wanted to say that before we moved on to Agent Score Report. Because I'm all about,
That's
again,
perfect.
yeah, and that's what Agent Score Report is. It's all about amplifying other people's voices. So, with Agent Score Report, that actually came out of a place of spite. I don't know if you were watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. And there was an episode that, I mean, that wasn't where the idea came from, but it explained what I did. And David on the show, he was upset with Mocha Joe, so then he ended up creating a spite coffee shop next door to compete with his business. So in a sense, that's kind of what Agent Score Report was for me. It came out of spite of being so frustrated with the lack of transparency when it comes to this industry. A lot of the things that we've touched on with the trust me, bro, process system that this industry actually runs on. I wanted to create something that created something that gave me something that didn't come from my uplines, where we all got to come through and collaborate, and you're getting the honest story, and it's your story. So there's the website called Rate My Professors. It was something that I used in college, and I used that religiously to make sure I didn't end up with somebody I wasn't trying to deal with during my seasonal depression that always came during winter quarter. So I'd use that religiously. So when I came into the insurance world, so it had been on a thought on my mind for probably close to a decade. I was like, why don't we have anything like this? And insurance world, there's nothing that tells me about insurance industry, nothing that isn't paid for or it's a sponsorship trying to get me to sign a contract under, nothing that's giving me the honest to God truth. Now we're seeing things differently on TikTok with the producers saying this is why you should get insurance and explaining it in details, and those are all great, but no one's talking about the behind the scenes being an actual agent, because if they knew, they realize this is some Lululemon strut type MLM type. Where is Netflix at? I'm ready to sign my mini limited series deal to tell you some stuff. And so that's why Agent Score Report had to come and had to be. I wanted a place where we could all come together and take back ownership of the industry in more than just different ways, getting away from the cult mentality and me connecting to other agents and learning about this industry, partnering with them, learning what other resources and services there are out there to help amplify my business, like, Casey with LifeWise, or Carson's with his training platform, letting people know there are other avenues out there to help get you what you're missing when it comes to your business. I wanted to really market this to both clients and customers, and I had to figure out how to do that. I ended up getting an opportunity to go to Grant Cardone's Great American Speak Off. Like I tell people, I didn't win that contest, but I won that contest just being surrounded by all those amazing people. And one of the trainings that we did, they talked about different sales taxes, and one of them was OPSs, which is other people's stages. And that's where my podcast, Agent Score Report podcast, came into play. Because I was like, other people's stages. This is how I can amplify these voices and also amplify mine without annoying everyone. Because I know I'm certainly annoyed with my voice after all this editing. So that's where, even me and you came to fruition, because I realized with all of these companies, because I don't care who you are and where you work for, because at the end of the day, they're all still going to hire and recruit. So my whole thing is, I just want to hear your organic story. Who pipered you into the industry? How'd you get here? And what's been your experience? Some people have been lucky and been with the same company the whole time. Some people have bounced around. The whole thing is, I have now unbiased stories for people to look into, and then for people to reach out to. Because now it's like, hey, if you're going to go work for X company, how about you go talk to Allie Wood? She's having a great experience, contrary to what I've heard about that company. And her upline answers the phones. They provide resources. Work for Wesley Shepard, someone who has been through tons of IMOs and finally just did his own because he was tired of it. Danny Richards and so many others like Paul. I like all the 30 plus people I've interviewed. It's like I've interviewed so many people that I feel like all deserve a spotlight. Because when I worked at my IMO, and my biggest month, while it's not the glorious, was $56,000. Like that's a lot of money to make, and I did that in 21 days. The whole thing is, they did a video about me. It went viral in our company, but they hired and recruited off of that company. So when I left, the people who reached out to me after I left, and we're talking over 300 people, they either hired, recruited, or stayed because of me, yet they didn't have my experience. And that frustrated me. So even this podcast, I want to be what my IMO was to themselves, to the entire industry, be an unbiased example of what is possible in the experience here, but actually have some truth and transparency to it. I want to, you know what I mean? Because my last company, they would say they're using these leads, but they were actually using these leads. So that's where I'm at with that. I just want a place where it's just real. With being in the land of AI and all this tech, we need something that's real. I'm so proud of you watching you on this podcast, because I love knowing there's somebody else doing this too from a different perspective, and us giving real unbiased stories. So, because this is a great business to be a part of, but we want you to be prepared and have a good time and the best experience, because you can make some money. I make money sitting here. I had an override come in. I don't even know where it came from. And that's just, and that's so nice. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, it was funny. I was using the restroom the other day. I saw a Stripe deposit come through. I was like, babe, I just got paid to shit. And I know how gross of me to talk about human stuff, but it's funny. And however, I'll tell you guys, the more aware you become, the more trouble, the more expensive of a price tag you're gonna have to pay, because I've had so many opportunities yanked out from the bottom. Oh, well, we saw what you said about so and so on a podcast. Like, was it
Yeah.
untrue? No, but we just can't put that type of, well, then fuck off, man. I'm not
Right?
gonna sit here and sugarcoat shit, because all the fat asses will eat that up too, if I'm being real. And I'm not here to people please. I'm not a nice person. I'm kind, but I'm not a nice person. I'll tell you the truth. Help hurts before it helps. And I'd rather you keep your money and not like me than me take your money and have to feel like I owe you. Now that I've even got your $9, now I have to answer your questions and cater to your needs and tell adults to do what they already know they need to do. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm here to I'm not a baby's I'm not going to babysit grown adults. I'll give you what you need. If you want to use a hammer to try to screw, by all means go do that. It's just, I told you, take this and hit the nail in. I didn't say anything about screws or trying to glue the hammer to something or whacking your upline over the head with a hammer, although that's probably a pretty good use of it. But yeah, so I appreciate that. Patrice, this has been really valuable for the agents and agency owners listening who want to learn more about what you do in Agent Score Report, tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
Hey, I'm looking for any agency owners or managers looking to take their business to the next level, because what we want to do is showcase who's doing it out there. What is your version? Because there are millions of agents out here looking for a home. So we're looking for people who are ready to step out, shine, and come and share us your stories. Tell us what your agency is doing. What are you doing to set apart to what's different that's out there? So we're also offering, spotlights with the podcasting and advertising and putting you in our email chain so people know that you're hiring and that you're a safe place for them to plant their flags. So we're looking for more of you guys to, I guess what's the word I want to say? Who they ain't got nothing to hide, I guess. Like, right? You are worth the money that comes out your mouth, right? Every word that comes out of it. That's what we're looking for.
Well, that's perfect. And where can they go to find you at?
So go ahead and go to agentscorereport.com and it will have links to all our socials there. Well, you will find me. And if you want to find my personal, look under P Johnson 23 underscore on Instagram and you'll find me there. Big and loud.
Well, that's perfect. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much, Patrice, for sharing your insights on just kind of pulling the curtain back on the back end stuff that no one
Yeah,
really talks
yeah,
about. So,
yeah.
for those of you interested in learning more about Patrice or what she does, go to agentscorereport.com or follow her at pjohnson21 underscore. Her links will be down below. You can also just go find her on Facebook if you like. My friends list is private, so don't go to my shit, but go to hers and you'll find her. Just look up Patrice Johnson. And if you'd like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for successful insurance agents and agency owners doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique insights and strategies to share. You can apply at the link below in the description. And one more time, if you want to stop getting people on your team that never sell anything and drain your time, and you want to recruit the right people the first time on autopilot and fill your agency with rock stars, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook or click the link in the description or the pinned comments. Until next time, keep building that commission machine, my friend.